Ooh, yay. Glad I finished my coffee. Well, not finished, but wasn't drinking at the time.
All right. So how's it going? Anything
Yeah, right.
new?
It was good until I looked at the new light setups that you have set up. Just like, now my vision is nothing but this LED dot grid pattern, right? It's like staring at like a 10 by 10 setup of little mini suns. I can't see anything. They're nice though.
And those are about half power. Yeah, they get pretty crazy. Yeah, so we switched. We had these big, cheap, soft box kind of light, things that we kept not being able to walk around. So we went for the tiny, dimmable LED lights. So and thank you for that's patron support that made that possible. So yes.
Ignore all that complaining I just did about them. Right? That's cool.
They
make us look much more healthy and natural.
Right. Yeah. Not as washed out and featureless.
So for those of us who aren't colorblind, appreciate the new skin tone boxes, right?
Yeah. So and we'll play with them to try to, because I was just trying to get all that crazy reflection and stuff off of the shelves and try to make things a little warmer. So let me know, and we'll keep playing with the setup to get it just perfect and not look directly into the lights.
Yeah, don't look directly into the lights. Yeah.
Nice.
What was the name? That horrible sci-fi movie about brain snatching aliens, where if you looked into the light, Skyline.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that was one of those sneaky movies that special effects guys made. Special effects house got a budget from a studio, made their own movie with that money, and the deal kind of like they half-assed the one they were supposed to be doing, and Skyline was the one that they actually made.
Okay. It couldn't have been something better than Skyline?
Right. Yeah, that's why it was so effects heavy too, because we're working on your movie. Yeah, we are starring in your movie, but don't let that bother you. All right. Yeah, so a wonderful, just a little local color here. A wonderful gas leak in the neighborhood last night. Yeah, so the crews were out digging. So we've got, of course, really old lines, probably 50 years old, gas lines under the ground. And so it's the first thing that happens, like when an earthquake, the first thing happens, everything bursts into flame because the gas lines break. Yeah. So we came home and like, what's that smell? And
well, luckily nothing blew up.
Nothing. Yeah, there wasn't some old guy walking walking past with a cigarette. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, that didn't have that happen, but didn't really dawn on me. Like, for your burner, your stove, you actually have the exposed nozzle, not nozzles, but like the shut-off switches, right?
Oh, right.
So like, we're going to use the stove, okay, turn it on, right? We're going to use the stove, turn it off, and like you don't really kind of have that in the States, right? You got to like crawl behind the stove, do that kind of stuff, and it's like, why? So your apartment doesn't burst into flames when there's an earthquake and the gas line cracks.
Yeah, because that's the only thing. So our power lines, our phone lines, everything's on poles, but they can't do that with gas. They can't put gas lines above your head. So so they're the only thing that's underground, and of course older areas suffer from
water too.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right.
It's not like we see a hamster trail full of like water. That'd be gross.
Yeah, you can just grab that.
Yeah, no. All right, sorry. I'm gonna go stare into those new LED soft boxes we have to burn that image out of my head.
Nice. All right. So just a bunch of. That's right. So we talked a little bit about this on the live stream on Saturday, but we won.
Oh Jesus!
We won.
That nonsense with me.
All of our swords.
I've had like a week off from that bullshit. Please.
Yeah. So the third-party developer community is claiming victory for whatever reason. They have no idea what they even wanted. I think.
No, they know what they wanted. They wanted the original 1.0A OGL that they were always producing stuff under, and they got it. The result is what, like Wizards won't roll it back. Right, but okay, like someone pointed out, pardon me, I'm allergic to this conversation. Someone pointed out that, okay, 5th edition SRD is Creative Commons. The original OGL is still intact. 5e stuff, I think, is under OGL.
Yeah.
But someone pointed out, who knows what's going to happen with 6?
Right. Yeah, moving forward. Yeah.
And moving forward, a lot of people, myself included, are assuming that as soon as 6 hits, there's going to be a completely new license for 6 or 1E, and D&D, WotC, and Hasbro are going to do exactly what they did with 4E, which is go screw yourselves. We're working on 6 now.
Right. Yeah, your stuff is compatible, but we're not going to support it. That'll be probably a strategy. And if you think they were trying to really screw you with all this, like, oh, it's a draft and sneaking these and contacting content creators and stuff secretly before this even released, it's going to be crazy. And then what you're going to have to give away if you're using their virtual tabletop will be pretty interesting. Their user license will be, the user end agreement will be pretty interesting, because I'm sure it will prohibit actual play and things on that system.
It might. It might.
Or like a huge license.
Or license fee. I wonder what that would do, because it would, okay, let's say that does come out, and if you want to do live streams with one D&D or 6e or whatever, you have to go through their license, or you can't. I want to say people would continue to do it, right? Like, I think they're kind of at the point where it's a lifestyle brand. People would go, yep, we'll pay that. Just to stream 6e. I mean, I think you're going to get some people who would go, no, we're going to stick to 5. But
I wonder, because people with established audiences and stuff, they don't want to shut down if they're actually generating revenue and, like, it's paying for people's time to be at that table. Then they will just do whatever they got to do.
Well, I kind of got into a discussion on Twitter about this, which is dangerous, yesterday, because I just saw offhand that, like, a new actual play that has, like, a spun off from another one. It has, like, a pretty devoted following and has a cast of performers that people will show up to see and kind of build themselves as, like, an indie one. I mean, like, their Patreon has something like 18 million subscribers already, right? Or it's like a huge number.
Right.
And they're doing 5e.
Oh, wow.
As, like, their first thing to kick off. And, like, I kind of...
What's a weird choice?
I complained about that and then got, like, roundly lambasted because, like, you can't say anything bad about D&D without getting jumped on, right?
Yeah.
And I said, it's disappointing that, okay, for smaller streams, I get it. People just starting out, you have a choice. The popular game, which will get you an audience,
right,
or something else, which... And it's kind of like a business decision, right? We want to do this thing we like. And I'm not saying you can't not like D&D, right? But choosing between something that's going to get you an audience immediately or a larger audience than something else, I mean, that's a business decision.
Yeah.
But I can still be disappointed that if your performers are the draw and you're almost guaranteed an audience, irregardless of what you're going to play, why that one, right? You like it, that's fine, right? But after a certain point of celebrity, and after kind of being a business, any decision is a business decision, right? So if you're like this small little kind of nobody, I'm doing this because I like it, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you're like a big kind of, not household name, but like celebrity in the AP world, like it's an endorsement.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that the same thing is true of, like, video game streaming. I think a lot of streamers, they have to jump on the newest title that's going to be popular because that's going to get the crowds to them. But there are people that find a niche and carve out they do indie games and they or just old retro stuff and develop a crowd. So I think that's something worth cultivating, because that's something that's more unshakable, because you have no idea the decisions we see WotC is making. If you're going to go with 5e, you have no idea what they're going to decide, just how bad you're going to get screwed.
Well, it's also kind of like third-party publishers, right? Or like smaller things, like it's a business decision. I get it, right? Back in the day, I considered making stuff for 5e because it would get you a guaranteed audience, right? Like, so, anyway, I'm allowed to be bitter about that.
Nice. Oh, hey, Miguel's in the chat. By the way, I want a wrench changed to a cog because Bauhaus rules over Venus. So nice.
I want to see those Stargrave Necrons you're putting together.
Oh yeah. Miguel sent me like nice. A black and red scheme. Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, they look good. Very cool. And the WotC will want your firstborn daughter in their end user license agreement. Right? Yeah, that might not be all that difficult. Well, if it means I get.
Yeah, all right. Well, for WotC, no. 5e or whatever D&D is not worth that.
If we can still have weekends, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, even then sometimes, I don't know. Depending on what mood I'm in. Yeah, sure, take it.
Nice. All right, so good to see everybody in the chat. Let's do this for this week so we don't run out of time.
Oh, like last week, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, what is going on here? Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, nice.
Oh, I thought Restream was being a butt again.
No. I think it's okay. Yeah, let us know in the chat if we're getting weird if we're getting weird lag or anything, because it's still saying that our stream is fair in quality, not good.
Excellent. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, very good. All right, so let's get started for this week. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Fantasy Age, 2nd edition.
Is that Age or AGE?
Well, it's an AGE system,
Okay,
but I'm going to say Age because
right.
yeah.
Throwing a wrench already. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, I think I think it works best as Age, but then it can mean something. Yeah, it's an acronym, so sure, why not? Pathfinder sells out.
Yep.
What? Black Flag presses on. C7d20 5e compatible system.
Okay, C7d20. Okay, that's a mouthful. All right.
Yes. Goodman Games. Oh, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Goodman Games best sales ever. And Gamefound misses their goal. And there's a specific other company that screwed them up, but but they're all making inroads against Kickstarter. So yeah, let's cheer them on.
Could that be the company that screwed them over?
No. All right. So Fantasy AGE, or Age, as I'm going to call it, 2nd edition. So the core rulebook will be introduced by Green Ronin next month.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to get
released?
Introduced. Yeah, they're just saying introduced. Okay. So, no, releases. No, it will release. Yeah, it's releasing next month. So this is an update to the 2015 rule set. So it's been a while that they've had 1st edition. New and refined rules. Ease of entry is kind of the motivation for doing this. A class and level system, so nothing completely unrecognizable, and a stunt system that allows players to perform heroic actions in and out of combat, and also the optional peril and daring mechanics.
Okay.
To develop so events in the game can have a little more flavor. So yeah, this book will also include a complete selection of magic devices, spells, and monsters. And we know that the 1st edition version is being used for games like The Expanse or Modern AGE. They have some licensed titles that are running the system, and will be the 5th season system.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Green Ronin is publishing 5th season. So there's the first book of the season. And we'll see. Now that I'm seeing peril and daring, it's, I don't know. I wonder.
That's part of 2E.
Yes, yeah.
Like
Right. That's true. Right? That's true. So yeah, we'll see. And I'm not familiar with what they did with The Expanse to kind of adapt it to the setting. So hopefully they'll do something, and the magic will be appropriate. It'll work.
I think I said this on the latest Oathmark stream, but my only exposure to the Fantasy AGE was like an old Dragon Age live stream.
Oh yeah, I think that was the first system I think they developed it for. Yeah.
And then I think they kind of, the impression I get is they kind of stripped out setting bits and lore bits and stuff and built Fantasy Age. If I would have to guess, the peril and daring mechanic is probably something similar to the 2d20 resource points.
Momentum and threat.
That's what I'm going to guess, right? And that's not me complaining. That's just saying, I bet you it's kind of that mechanic.
Interesting, but hopefully it's perilous and dangerous. Yeah,
dangerous.
I don't know.
I like those GM. Currency thing.
They're interesting. And I was surprised we did about 10 sessions of John Carter, and I was surprised how well it does work. If you're not paying attention to it, it can really just be this thing where, okay, the game master at the end of the session can just pound on you,
right.
But it can also be this interesting back and forth that I was surprised how it works. It does make sense. I mean, I can see the intention, and I finally got it to work, because I hear so many people complain, and maybe they just don't spend enough time with it. I hear a lot of people complain about it. Players are interrupting things, and
I just want to tell my story. Book.
Yeah, right. And GMs can endlessly send waves of reinforcements and things, but in a lot of situations it works really well. And of course, and I think especially for pulp, letting the players interrupt and say, "Oh, by the way, we talked to this guy before we left." That, and having
I know that person,
right?
Stuff like that.
So being able to pick up resources or do things on the fly. So there is a way to rewrite, especially with the luck points. You can actually rewrite part of the narrative in your favor. I mean, you're sacrificing a huge. You only get a couple of those,
right?
But you sacrifice a huge amount of currency for it. But it's I liked how it worked. So if they do something like that, I think it's more fun. There's back and forth, and I think it works with certain settings and things. If people are really mathy and very critical and strategic about what they want to do, I can see why that would be frustrating. Right. But it's good for story.
Who knows what these people played before? But if you're doing it just kind of like D&D inspiration,
yeah,
then it's just. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There is much more of a back and forth, so you have to play with it that way. And and the awarding of it and everything is nice. It gets you kind of very connected to your actions.
Kind of sounds like the argument people have against like Fate, right? Mm-hmm. Where they're like, the Fate points are kind of like with invokes and compels are supposed to kind of go back and forth, and the chips are supposed to be going back and forth. And if they only kind of go like one way, well, the game kind of grinds to a halt. Or like if the DM is just like, not hoarding them, but like, okay, you keep giving me all these points at the end of the session, boom, right? You're like, right. Well, anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what second edition looks like when it comes out.
I wonder if they're going to attach it any kind of setting.
Oh, I don't know.
Or if there's going to be like an implied setting.
Yeah, because they're calling this is the fantasy. Yeah, so they have fantasy and modern. So, yeah, I'm not sure if the original fantasy does.
I don't think it did.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then we'll see how quickly then modern and some of their other systems are going to be adapted. And sad news, Paizo has sold out of hardcover core rulebooks. Okay. This is a hard time for them. Actually, they're insanely happy about this. They won't have new rulebooks printed until April. So next month. Yeah.
2 months. Yeah,
2 months. 2 months. Wow. Yeah, that's right. So April 2023. The company was bombarded with weeks' worth of orders during this OGL 1.1 battle, and they're not complaining. A lot of companies are smiling that WotC made this misstep and really made their online stores burning hot. So they had an open gaming sale, which they called a critical hit, and they sold an 8-month supply of core rulebooks in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So if you want to get your hands, it's going to be difficult. Maybe like used on eBay or whatever. You can get your hands on them. Yeah, or just wait.
Or just wait until April.
Right. And but the one thing that is still available that I should have brought, but I would advise, it's about that size. Right. The pocket edition of the Paizo books is really useful. It's something.
Sorry, apart from us 90s kids who wore Junko jeans, what pocket is a book that size fitting in?
Yeah,
right?
it's a 400. I think it's a 400-page book, but it's a scaled down, so it's exactly the same text and everything on the pages, just scaled down. So it's a little tiny. So older players.
As 90s kids need to bust out our magnifiers.
Yeah, you might have to get out your magnifiers. But it's really convenient for passing around a table and everything. It's a nice reference to flip through, and it's not so, it doesn't take up so much space. Right. You can basically just hold it like this. What the game, you never know what I'm looking up, and they do that with all of the books. They do a softcover pocket edition of all of the hardcover books that are released, and they're significantly cheaper. So if you've got young, strong eyes that can see small text, they're really useful. Much less to carry, and you can have basically everything with you for much less the cost and the weight.
Your back will thank you later.
Yes, definitely. So those are still available, and they did also see a huge spike in the beginner box sales. And Paizo does a good beginner box. This Starfinder, it's huge because they give you the pawns, they give you maps, they give you everything that you could need to actually just put it right on the table. Yeah, dice and everything. Yeah, everything in there. It's really a nice,
very shiny box. So
very shiny.
It's not going to show anything.
Yeah, right. It's got incredible. Oh, and the chat is hiding it too. But it's got a really nice complete set, and it's so that this new starter box that they released for 5e, that one that's just like a little piece of paper that says, here's your code for D&D Beyond. I mean, this blows it away. So if you really want to jump right into Pathfinder 2nd Edition, that beginner box is a good way to do it. And how would you go about doing that? Well, as a matter of fact, so to kind of fill in the gap here while we're waiting for books to be republished, there is a humble bundle that is featuring Paizo. So the Paizo, you want to try Pathfinder book bundle.
Yeah, that's appropriately named. Yeah.
Right. And so in that is for as little as $1, you can get PDFs for the core books, and I think the first couple of core books, and then you also. It goes up to a larger amount. It's like $400 worth of books for $25, I think is the highest. Wow. But it also includes physical copies. So there's a physical copy of the beginner box that you can order. You have to pay additional shipping for that. But they do ship internationally because it's coming from the Paizo web store. It's a code you put into the Paizo web store that you can that they'll then send it out. So they will ship internationally. So available basically anywhere that Paizo ships, you can get the beginner box physical copy. And yeah, that's pretty nice. A few times I think we've talked about before when they did that, maybe for Starfinder, but this is a good chance to jump right in and already be supporting them. So they're out of physical copies, but you can get the digital
8 months worth in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Watsy's got to be happy about that, right?
Yeah, you are welcome. Christmas came late this year. All right, and so we're wondering what other effect this is having, or what other things people are doing by the announcement of the OGL 1.0A standing and the SRD in Creative Commons. Well, Kobold Press, one of the first ones to kind of react strongly as well, says Black Flag will continue. So no white flag for Black Flag.
Okay.
So yeah, because of these events, so this ensures that 5e will remain available. This Creative Commons move, but Kobold Press is saying their project is moving forward. The timeline is unchanged, and they will start releasing playtests the end of this month, so the end of February 2023. Black Flag maintains core compatibility with 5e products that Kobold Press is already producing. They want to embrace 5e and expand upon it. So their goal is to keep their 5e products vibrant and available in print and on their partner platforms, the VTT platforms. Right. So yeah, so open playtesting is moving forward. So sign up today on the Kobold Press site if you're interested in seeing what Black Flag looks like. And yeah, so this changes nothing. Right. Your pitiful attempt to quell the Discord. Yeah, is
I think it was kind of the SRD being released in the Creative Commons that probably allowed them to.
That said that. Yeah, we're definitely doing this now. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I can't believe. I mean, it's the 400-some page SRD is there now. That's crazy.
Which, like we said, kind of before the stream started, makes me think all the more that WotC's just going to abandon 5e.
Yeah, right.
Once 6 or 1 rolls out.
Yeah, because this is something they can't take back, right? So this is released. This is forever in the wild.
It's yours. We're not working on it anymore.
Yeah, but look how shiny and cool 6e is. I mean, 1 D&D. We can't possibly call it 6. So another company that this is affecting, or they're making moves, reacting to. I don't know. I can't quite tell what this is. This is a little mysterious. Cubicle 7. So Cubicle 7, who has a lot of licenses. So they do the Warhammer TTRPGs, which are going to stay with that system. I don't think we have to worry about 5e versions of that.
All right, and the Age of Sigmar one too.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar. Yeah. The upcoming 40K, the kind of Inquisitor style one. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff coming. So they are about to kickstart a tabletop RPG called Broken Weave, and this will also give you a look at an early look at the newly developed rule system that they're calling C7d20.
Okay.
So this will be compatible with D&D 5e, according to the SRD, and yeah, I guess this is just their way to get in there, because they have released 5e versions of games. So Doctors in Daleks, with the Doctor Who, and Adventures in Middle Earth, the basically One Ring 5e version of One Ring, they have released in the past, and because they have a lot of licenses, I think they probably want to stay with a popular system. And yeah, what is happening with this? So that means everyone's going to have their own thing, their own version of 5e. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting move by a lot of companies to support 5e kind of without supporting.
Is it an interesting move? I don't know. Like, okay. All right. I'm going to get dragged for this, but like, okay, look. This recent 5e or D20 compatible boom is exactly what led Hasbro to go no, right, to try and yank stuff back, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole thing, I get it. 5e is the most or D&D is the most popular game or role-playing game in the world. So a game that is compatible with 5e gives you an audience, right? Does it really though? I would like to see numbers, right? Okay, the argument is always, people who play this, right? Well, it's going to be an easy transition to play this other thing because the rules are the same. Okay, valid point. Does it actually ever work? What it really does is it homogenizes the RPG landscape to where you have an 8,000-pound gorilla who's able to dominate the market, and then go, we're a dominant force enough where we can just go, everybody, and revoke this the OGL and all this stuff. So the fact that I feel this glut of 5e compatible games led to the OGL crisis kind of makes me look at all these people who are and companies who are making stuff that's still compatible with 5e and go,
stop it.
Really? Right? Like,
right.
Like, okay, like, yeah, sure, things are different because the SRD cannot be, its Creative Commons can't be revoked, right? So that game system will always be there. But I still feel like even if people are playing this game, like C7d20 or Doctors and Daleks or any of the other 5e compatible things, they're like, it's a much easier jump to WotC and D&D than it is to any non-D20 game, right? So it's not like, I really think the argument about, it's encouraging people to branch out. No, it isn't. It's encouraging people to try a different flavor of the same game and stay within their little area of safety, which is a lot closer to them funneling money to WotC than it is to anybody else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, this rule system is the rule system that everybody is going to ally themselves with just because the SRD is now.
I think, like, it's okay. I can be bitter about it, but I can also understand it, right? Like I said earlier before we actually kind of started things, it's a business decision, right? Especially for larger independent businesses, right? Do we take a risk by making a system that's completely not unknown, right? But okay, I think like Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40,000, to stick with Cubicle 7, probably had a big enough name, a big enough IP where you're going to get people to at least look at it irregardless of what the system is, right? So they could, I think, take a bigger chance with a newer system, right?
Yeah, and the expectations were different. The D100 is like, that's what we expect Warhammer, at least fantasy, to be. So yeah,
you could have given them anything, and as long as it had like gruesome critical hit tables, they would have been happy, right? But like other things that are maybe not so sure or don't have a bigger chance of success, to ensure it has a bigger chance of success, use the world's most popular role-playing game, right? And I can't fault the companies for making that decision because it does lessen their risk. I can look at it and go, you're helping the monopoly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's really a funny thing that this is the system that so many companies are aligning themselves with.
It's kind of like all the problems in the States, right? Like, unfortunately, someone has to lead the charge, and they're probably that person's probably not going to survive, right?
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, so it's like I can't really be mad for companies going, I don't want to be the first one to like jump ship or do all this stuff. We got to make money. Let's keep being safe, right? But somebody has to do it, or nothing's going to change.
Yeah, that's true. But Broken Weave.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, back to the topic at hand. Sorry.
So Broken Weave is going to be on Kickstarter starting February 8th, a post-apocalyptic tragic fantasy setting compatible with 5e and C7d20. It is tragic. And that's about the extent of what we know. So they've just shown some key art. So just the preview of the campaign, some key art. But Cubicle 7 said it is involved in discussions about open licensing and will have some more news as the situation develops with their CD20 system.
That's a mouthful, C7d20.
Yeah, everyone's going to have their own little
they are.
funny thing.
Well, okay, and I can't complain about that either because like the same thing's happening in like the indie scene where it's like, you know, when once Powered by the Apocalypse hit, everything was Powered by the Apocalypse. Like Thirsty Sword Lesbians, the tagline's Powered by Lesbians. I mean, the Forged in the Dark, you got like Forged, right? In whatever, right? Everybody, and I get it, right? It's branding. So again, I can't be mad, but you can really look at stuff and go, really?
Right? And I
come up with something easier to say than C7d20, right?
Yeah, we'll see. But another good sales month for Goodman Games. Right. Yeah, another company that deserved the bump. So January was their best sales month in the 2-decade history of the company.
Nice.
They had a huge bump. So best sales in 2 decades, all-time high, exceeding prior Black Friday, holiday special events, everything. And several accessories, adventure modules, and things were sold out. on the site. So yeah, there was a so Joseph Goodman released a statement saying DCC RPG is an amazing game that deserves many new fans, and we are happy to constantly meet new players to the game. But the timing of the January sales growth is telling. The demand surges coincide directly with WotC's announcement regarding the OGL. I strongly believe that D&D is the tide that lifts all boats in the TTRPG space, and I sincerely hope that WotC, I can
saw
see
my
you
face.
shaking
Yep,
your
saw my face.
that WotC understands that its actions are driving gamers away from D&D. I welcome the many new DCC fans to our wonderful community, while also hoping WotC finds a way to retain and grow its core fan base.
He was being very nice.
Yeah. But do you think if WotC makes, really fumbles this and has a platform that no one can use,
Right.
it's completely ridiculous, and just basically falls apart and devalues D&D into nothing, do you think that's going to hurt everybody, or do you think the people will just try to look for it? They'll move to Pathfinder, they'll move to another system, or it will just be fragmented and then it'll become a niche, weird little hobby again?
Tough to say because, okay, I remember we kind of had this discussion like way back when 5e was coming out, like what's going to happen if 5e is a flop. Like I think things are kind of different now because D&D has a fucking movie coming out, right?
Yeah.
Like there's all these, it's a lifestyle brand. So if the game is somehow like a flop and if they completely fumble it, I honestly don't know, because people who are in the hobby will probably play something else, right? And like DCC selling out and Pathfinder selling out tells me and tells everybody that there are places for people to go if they want to play D&D but not D&D, right? And that's not me saying anything bad about Dungeon Crawl Classics or Pathfinder, right? They're very similar games. But English. But WotC and D&D 5e was still the only company with reach beyond gamers, right? Like you don't see Pathfinder or Dungeon Crawl Classics in Walmart, right? You might see them in like a bookstore if those still fucking exist, right? So if WotC just like fumbled 6, current hobbyists, current players would be fine. Would we get new players? Or would new people? I don't know. I don't know.
And it just might be that, and maybe that's what they're really banking on, is the new generation is gonna want a digital. They're assuming, just like the future is VR that Meta assumed. They're assuming that the new generation doesn't want to play with pen and paper around a table. They want to all be online.
Well, who knows? Maybe WotC is making the right or a choice here, right? If the movie is successful, right, or if all these other avenues other than the game itself act as an entry to the game, and if everything for 6e or whatever recent or future editions are funneling new people towards this VTT or whatever they have, are they going to know anything different? Right? Like you talk to all these, like you started with the hobby, like some people never make the jump or find out that there's other stuff outside this, and if they get funneled to like a digital walled garden, how would they ever know?
Yeah, that's true. It would have to take some big trauma with that system to actually even bother
so
looking
maybe
at
or they would just quit, right?
Yeah, right.
That's the other thing, right? So maybe WotC is going, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, do whatever you want, we've got all these other avenues into the hobby that feed people directly to our little walled digital garden, and we got them.
And the other thing, and the reason I was kind of thinking about this is an interesting move with all the 5e compatible, or our new version of the 5e using the OSR, is I was really thinking that that's not, was it the SRD?
Yeah,
using the SRD. Sorry, these abbreviations are killing me. Players have been playing this game, even new players might have been playing this game long enough that they realize, wait a minute, all we need is this SRD. We never have to buy another thing again. Our dungeon master has created this whole original world, like this whole homebrew world. Like this is all we need. We already have the dice. We already have the character sheets. We don't need these companies anymore to create adventures for us, because we already know how to do this. And that's the thing that's always been possible with tabletop roleplay. So I'm really that's why it's interesting that all of these companies say, hey, but our stuff is still, it's super compatible, and hey, we got a system that's using the SRD, and really trying to reassure people that they can play something, use their settings and use their adventures because they're familiar, but you don't need that anymore.
Well, okay, I liken it to cooking, right? Like anybody can cook, right? I'm fucking channeling the fucking ghost from Ratatouille, right? Anyway, right? Okay, anyone can cook, but you have to build up that skill, right? You have to like go buy the ingredients. You have to spend time cooking, right? So like, yeah, anyone can cook, just like anyone can make a setting or a game for with the SRD. Not everybody has the time. Not everybody has the inclination, right? Not everybody has like the skill. So I think like those pre-made, and that's not using a disparaging term, right? These pre-made things are always going to have a market because people either don't have the time, inclination, or they just don't want to, right? It's cool. I want to play a game. Don't have time. We're playing this, right?
Yeah, and just thinking about how many DMs since 2015, how many DMs have kind of been trained how to make an interesting adventure. They've seen how pre-written stuff runs in their groups, and they're like, okay, now I know how to do this. I think that that's very interesting that we never have this huge defection. I mean, I've heard some people in like the OSR group and things say that I never need to buy another book again. Right. I mean, I have more books than I'm ever going to run. So yeah.
Well, doesn't the OSR kind of have a DIY mentality?
Yeah,
with it, where it's like, okay, we're going to hack the fuck out of this rule set to make it like exactly what we want to play, right? Where I'm not saying that mentality doesn't exist in other subgroups, but I think it's just really highlighted more in like OSR, whereas like other people like, okay, it's also the shared adventure thing, right? Like, oh, you played Temple of Elemental Evil 2. What happened to your players, right? Or remember that time when? Hey, cool. Who wants to go through Ravenloft
that's
again?
True.
Right?
Yeah. Kind of the water cooler talk of TTRPGs. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I wonder how successful WotC was with 5e of not letting people understand that they could do that. You know, it's like no, you have to buy the next adventure. Icewind Dale is coming out. Don't you want to play that?
Well,
you know,
I think they kind of knew what they were doing when they said, okay, here's these old adventures, kind of cleaned up a little bit for the new system. Not like entirely, but like you have great memories of playing this, or you've heard people talk about this. Right. Now you can play it in the new system, right? Yeah. Buy it again.
You're
right. So,
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I think, but they're continuing that same thinking. If they can keep people buying their published adventures and then move them into a virtual thing where that's where they're getting content dumps and premium subscriptions that gives them monthly stuff.
If also, digital. I guess the other side is like, if the company doesn't keep producing stuff, will people keep buying? Yes, just from a different company, right?
Right. Yeah, so that's true.
We want people to keep buying our stuff. Therefore, we need to keep releasing stuff.
And each of these companies does have a different approach and a different flavor, for their games. So, like a Dungeon Crawl Classics is going to be very different from a published.
You don't talk to NPCs in a DCC module. You just kill them. Right? You kill them and loot their corpse, right? And sometimes that's all you want.
So so I guess you find something that's to your taste, and there you go. So I think that's what they're hoping for.
How else are you going to play a game that lets you use it like a D30 or a D7 or that Rochambeau die, right?
Exactly. So the only bit of disappointing news, but not that disappointing, is from Gamefound. Right. So Gamefound fell short of their goals. They had some pretty optimistic goals for what they were going to be able to achieve in 2022.
Hey, go big or go home, right?
Yeah, exactly. So but they did take a big bite out of Kickstarter's tabletop project kind of revenue. So they only had about a 45% increase, and they were hoping for something a lot bigger. So Gamefound was very ambitious and wanted to but they did so they hope to bring in 67.5 million, which would be 25% of Kickstarter's revenue. I think they set it just based on what Kickstarter makes, and they did about 45. So it's not. I mean, it's not. It's not a huge disappointment.
Okay, you didn't hit it, but I mean, still.
Yeah, about 45% of that. Of that 20. 50. Of that 25. Sorry, I'm reading numbers well. So so Kickstarter did decline then in the tabletop category, $33 million last year.
Oh, hey, if there's no Avatar being kickstarted,
right,
you're not going to make as much, right?
And they did they got significant investment from Ravensburger, the very old game publisher that believed in what they're doing. And these guys, this is the Polish. These guys are a Polish-based company that are the same guys that brought you Awaken Realms. So that's the company that does. So they did also, and it may just be that their timing wasn't great, that the whole crowdfunding thing, especially for board games, is slowing down a bit because they had some really big games, Elden Ring, Last of Us, and Slay the Spire, that had board game versions that didn't do the numbers they expected. They expected much bigger campaigns. So everything might be slowing down. So
people are saying, I'm not going to play these games I bought.
Right.
Why do I need more?
Right. And the other thing is a little bit of burnout. The other thing that they were also discussing is the timing when BackerKit decided they were going to launch. So that coincided with Gamefound doing their beta. So BackerKit, which is already established as partnering with Kickstarter, was the back end for a lot of Kickstarter campaigns, now became their own platform. And they said that the timing, they don't want to specifically point fingers, but that timing was did not help them do what they wanted to do. Yeah. But I think, like you said, it is, people are kind of saying, I got more plastic and cardboard than I could usefully deal with. So we're just going to wait on some of these expansions and things that are coming out for these games. And they were kind of on a Kickstarter crowdfunding, I guess, in general, does get these companies on a kind of a frantic pace of every couple of years they got we'll do expansion for this and then expansion for the other game, and we got to keep stuff coming out and keep people coming back. Yeah. And then offering them, buy into the, the base original game and things. So they really get on a treadmill of begging for your dollars.
That's really, is it? Or I guess in a sense it is begging, but in a sense it's also like a pre-order, right?
Yeah, that's true. But Kickstarter is not a pre-order. That's what they always
sure.
They I think they bold the not.
They do.
Yeah. So the owner of Gamefound is saying the economy, realistically, we have nothing to do with, and we cannot guarantee whatever will happen with inflation. We have absolutely no influence. So, people having less disposable income, less hobby dollars is going to affect everybody. But it's just nice to see that tabletop is moving to other places, and the Kickstarter isn't the only place to fund a tabletop game. So you have other options. Oh, and that was the other thing too, is the makers of Gloomhaven chose BackerKit as their preferred. They left Kickstarter and chose BackerKit, so that was also a pretty big blow. But also, showed that people are getting tired of Kickstarter and their fees and everything. But so not hugely disappointing, but it's definitely showing slowdown everywhere. And that might be, if American inflation and stuff doesn't get under control, it might be a pretty bumpy launch for one D&D, where people are like, I can't pay $30 for a virtual. I got to get my Netflix.
I don't know. I got to log in for my home IP every 30 days.
Oh, that's right. No sharing.
Yep, no sharing. Yeah, I don't know.
So we'll see. People are making different decisions now.
People are also pretty loyal, though.
Yeah, that's true. But that SRD is not free. You don't need to spend any money.
It's not the new shiny, Jeremy.
Oh, that's
Come on.
right. That's right. All right. Doesn't have all those subclasses in it.
It doesn't. Oh, jeez.
All right. So that will do it for this week. Yeah. So just a little bit of fallout from WotC. We're just the tide that's lifting the boats is like rippling everybody.
D&D being the tide that lifts all the boats is the trickle-down economics theory of hobby TTRPG. It doesn't work. Right. It's not the case, right?
Yeah. Anyway. Well, optimistically. Well, people supporting 5e have to believe that. They have to believe.
They have to believe that, because the alternative is just too bleak, right?
It's too bleak.
You're either happy and you believe that, or you're like me on the other side, bitter about that and everything, right?
Right. Well, where can people find your bitter self?
Yeah, exactly. For more of my bitterness, that's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, on Instagram or Twitter, though. Instagram is slowed down since I don't really paint anything that much. Because all my paints are probably frozen in that computer. Anyway.
Nice.
So how about you?
So I'm still doing, and I managed to actually do it this week,
nice.
my single panel gag cartoon, Domestic Abuse. So you can read that archive at gocomics.com/domestic abuse, or Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch. And so I live stream the drawing of those two cartoons every week. It's a nice chat, and I eat a lot of stuff from convenience stores, so you can see all the weirdness. So Melty Kiss, I didn't know, I had seen it so often that I didn't know Melty Kiss is a winter only. Yeah, those little
really?
chocolates.
Okay.
Yeah, they really
okay,
should.
I guess that's why it's melty, because it's cold and you want something to melt. I don't know.
Right. So they because it will in the summer heat, they'll just like liquefy totally in those wrappers. Yeah. So so tune into the live stream for interesting information about seasonal chocolate in Japan.
Yep, there you go.
All right, and if you like what we're doing with the weekly, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/upturntable, and you can be a weakling.
Yep, the strongest of all supporters.
Yes, and let us know what you want to see on the stream, what you think of this new lighting setup. If
we actually look like living people instead
yeah,
of zombies.
right, there's some blood in our faces, and just let us know what you want to do, and then get access to early access to everything that we're doing, and there's downloads and actual plays and all kinds of fun stuff to see on there. And the audio of this live stream goes onto the RSS feed for patrons, and you can just listen to it at your leisure instead of watching our weird lighting setup weekly.
Didn't knock anything over this week.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So thank you for joining us, and we will be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. All right. right. So good to see everyone in the chat. So thanks for hopping on early, Miguel. Oh, or it's had John to see. Oh, we're a little, a little too warm, a little too yellow. Yeah, I should. I didn't white balance the camera before I switched the lights. I wanted to warm things up a little bit and also lower the kind of intensity. But we'll play around. We'll play around with that. There's a bunch of different settings to deal with, but I didn't do anything with the camera, so it's probably not handling things all that well. Matt, how's it going? So Matt and Abyss, good to see you guys. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Miguel was asking, how much does YouTube's algorithm influence somebody picking up D&D to stream? Yeah, I wonder, because I was surprised. I watched like one OGL video like when this whole thing started, and my feed, my recommendations were just pounded now with OGL channels and things. And I didn't really find anyone that I didn't subscribe to anyone during this whole thing. I watched several people's content and things, and there are just a lot of really terrible D&D channels out there. It's weird. There's not there's probably a way to describe the group of people that have heavily adopted 5e, because it looked very similar. Like I would literally flip it on and watch just a couple of seconds, be like, nope, I can't listen to this guy drone on about anything. There was some interesting, insightful stuff, but I didn't find anybody that I particularly liked their commentary about it. So it's funny. So nice. Yeah. So Matt is saying, intrigued by the new Fantasy Age, but what if Will Wheaton is involved, you are out. Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know if he was involved in original AGE. Not good. Yes, Matt has spawned. Nice. Oh, so Abyss is saying, played Frosthaven, and it's pretty wild. They made it so much more like a video game with unlocks and hidden secrets. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I must have I think I did get notified that Frosthaven is on the way, but it's probably taken forever. I think the thing is like 30 pounds or something. It's a ridiculous piece of lumber. Nice. So missing parts in the rule book. So it's twice the size. Oh, twice the size compared to Gloomhaven. Wow. And they're doing a TTRPG for the Gloomhaven setting. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to do. And I wonder, because you do have then tiles and miniatures and standees and stuff for playing the game, but I wonder how much you can differentiate, between a board game with a little bit of storytelling versus a straight TTRPG. Interesting. And Abyss is saying Frosthaven is harder because it is so much more balanced and oozes experience in how it is crafted. Interesting. Well, I'm glad they iterated well on that original game. There's now an extra phase called the Outpost phase, where you build a settlement of Frosthaven and build up the town and defend the settlement and craft items. Whoa, that's cool. If you get a hold of a cheap copy somewhere in the future, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the most expensive games to actually get delivered, just because it's so huge. Here's Gloomhaven right here. And I think this is 17 pounds. I can't remember it was pretty significant. And I think they did. It was still, when Gloomhaven was fulfilled, it was still at the time when shipping wasn't insane. But I'm glad we've already paid for shipping. But Cephalofair might be eating a little bit of this delivering all these games now. Hopefully they got, they negotiated a good rate with fulfillment places. That's very cool. Yeah, so that is on the way. Oh, so Matt said, I totally agree with Chris. The OGO rebels who are staying with the core game mechanics are half-assing it and not really taking much of a stand. That's good. That's the next stop by WotC. Actively market and blog an anti-homebrew. Yeah, exactly. All they have to do is just call them racists and homophobes. That's what I was saying. If you're using dice and a pencil and you're not buying printed stuff, you are problematic. That's gonna definitely be the move. It's like, oh yeah, you just want to put Nazis in your game, right? You just want to do things that are going to offend every player at the table. That's the move. That's exactly what Sony would do to market their film, is call you names to get you to shame you into the theater. Nice. Yeah, it's very interesting. Matt was saying it would be like GW tournaments. You aren't playing it right. Yeah, if you're using homebrew stuff. Yeah, if you're kit bashing non GW models, you're not playing right. Oh, it's back in full. Yeah, right. To try to GW is trying to control that what is legal on the table. I'm sure there's so many people that love winning matches, but that head that's 3D printed, or that's goes over the 12% allowable, whatever. Yeah, Abyss is saying that sounds like one hell of a bastardization of what role playing should be for. Yeah, depressing. Interesting. Yeah, Miguel's talking about the GW tournaments. Yeah, like official tournaments. Yeah, they were out of that for a long time, weren't they? They're just letting it like kind of be independently run. It's crazy. So Abyss is saying, you're right, Matt. They're going to push it for years and years, but the issue is that other publishers won't be doing that, and so people cannot forget how good it can be. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Abyss continues, in all honesty, I think that this has permanently scarred their reputation because the mighty one is not as mighty as it seemed. Yeah, that does, cracks in the armor kind of thing. I think that's a good point. Is we can see that they're not unstoppable, they're not infallible. That 5e isn't this isn't carved on stone tablets that everyone has to bow down before. Yeah, I think they're just going to kind of wait. Yeah, wait and until 6th comes out, which they will never call 6th. I guess they don't want to call it that because it's so hard to say. Miguel saying, I always get a happy feeling when companies go for blatant abuse of their customers, collaborators, and get themselves in hot water. Yeah, this was a really weird move, but I guess they had to kind of take that risk or make the change at some point, and just try to grab, like they I guess on the corporate, the management level, the Hasbro level, they were saying we got too much money kind of slipping through our fingers, under monetized customers, and they just had to take a shot and grab that gold ring, and they totally didn't realize how delicate that this whole arrangement and this trust and everything is based on. Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sadly, Abyss says, sadly, Games Workshop won't ever mess up at that level. Yeah, that's true. And they don't really have a Paizo. They don't have anybody kind of nipping at their heels. I mean, Mantic is such a distant second. And I think that there's probably other companies that are more of a threat, and I think that's why Games Workshop, broke that relationship with Fantasy Flight, because they were doing so many, miniature, the Song of Ice and Fire game, and they were doing so many miniature war games that they were actually starting to compete with Games Workshop. So a company more of that scale, I don't know. Yeah, it's a funny thing, but I don't think they have the pressure, and their brand is so. I mean, it's much more identifiable, I think, than D&D. Like what is D&D? Generic fantasy. I mean, 40K is much more recognizable. And now there are 3 other fantasy lines. Yeah, we will see. But yeah, GW will definitely keep raising their prices. Oh yeah, that's really sad. Yeah, that's right. When when Games Workshop made that grab on the content creators and signed up all of those animators to put them under contract just to get their stuff off of YouTube, and isn't utilizing any of them, it doesn't seem. Yeah, that's right. The Emperor's if the Emperor had text to speech content went away, and they've been doing that for years. That really sucks that they didn't negotiate, because it just would have helped keep promoting the brand. But they want control. They want they want control over the image. They want control over the content. They just don't want content creators putting words in the mouth of their characters, or depicting things in a playful way that isn't corporate approved. That's a real mess. Abyss is saying, the DHL guy was not happy with the 17-kilo box of Frosthaven. Yeah, I've had some Kickstarter deliveries that, the guy's holding this coffin-sized box and trying to get me to sign the thing, and it's just not happy, because there's no direct driveway or road access to our house, so they have to carry it down steps. Games Workshop's competitors are too atomized. That's a good point, Miko. Yeah, there's not, especially because nobody has has the reach, and also has, even if they're kind of aping Games Workshop, they don't have the setting. They don't have there's nobody that's come out as strong with a recognizable setting that has the distribution and reach. Yeah, it's crazy. So hey Matt, are you set for tomorrow? We're gonna do our possibly second session 0 of Forbidden Lands. We may move forward with that or move forward with something else. We'll have to see. And I've realized something now. Putting the audio together, so we're recording it locally, so everyone's turning on Audacity. And I forgot we need to do a sync. We need to do a countdown or a sync where we all do the same thing at the same time, so I can easily line it up. It's not the end of the world, but I spend a lot more time lining up tracks to kind of get the the sync going on it. I realized because we all start our audio at different times. Yeah, we need a 3, 2, 1 something, so I can put us in sync. But in the editing process, though, for those actual plays, I really play around with a lot of the timing. So I'm sliding tracks, back and forth, and getting quicker responses. Or I don't ever really change the order of anything, but I really tighten how exchanges go back and forth. So it's sync is not super important with those tracks. Oh yeah, Miguel's talking about Imperium. I finally saw that at the bookstore. So we're getting the Japanese version, the Hachette Press, or the company. Oh, and I did the math too. So the full price. So if we're just going to do 1 yen to 1 cent, 100 yen to $1 conversion. They're going to do 90 releases, weekly releases for the next couple of years. For that Imperium, and I didn't know how those things worked. I knew they were kind of scammy, but it's $2,500 if you buy everything, and you get a lot of stuff. They show you they're going to go Sisters of Battle. They're basically giving you Dominion piece at a time, probably that Sisters box, Battle box piece at a time, and some other stuff, and binders and paints and stuff, but it's going to barely be worth, not even near anything, $2,500, but because they stretch it out so long, you're not going to feel it. But the Imperium number 3, and the story is kind of, the way GW presents it is incredible. Oh, interesting. Is it Imperium? Is it the book? Is it the? I'm sorry, I may be getting confused. But Imperium is also the name of that. That buy piece at a time, kind of build a model car, get a collection of DVDs or whatever, those sets where they basically you can get a subscription that they charge you weekly, and they send it in the mail, or you can go to bookstores. So Japan has a lot of those magazines with a box attached, and inside is some item. So there's some subscription websites. The collectible. It's the collectible version of 40K. So basically they're taking the Dominion box and feeding it back to you, but also kind of giving you, teaching you how to play, because they're giving you the sorts of things that were in the smaller starter kits that came out for 8th edition, 9th edition. Yeah, that's right, because we got 10th coming up. When they were so Space Marines and Necrons, and they give you a lieutenant and a special an HQ to start with. So you have nicer models. The cheapest set has probably some of the nicer models in there, and then they're just basically slowly teaching you the rules and having you slowly build an army, and as they kind of piecemeal feed you everything. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Like what you get in there is definitely much cheaper than buying them outright. But and I guess that's true. If you buy them from the bookstore, you don't have to buy each installment. All you do is miss whatever little piece of the rules thing or whatever they're doing. But yeah, like a pot of paint and like 3 or 4 models is definitely price definitely effective. Yeah, the Necron Warden. Yeah, that's right. So Primaris Lieutenant and Necron Warden were like 500 yen or something. Yeah, plus dice and a ruler and some playmat and stuff. So yeah, it's just they definitely want to get you in. I wonder if it's if it is an effective way, because I think Chris was just talking about that, how effective a way that is to like get someone into the 40K hobby. And if it's because it seems it's a little bit kid friendly too, because the way that it just kind of walks you through in the magazine, I think it would work. Like it could be like a father son kind of hobby thing, and an easy way to but weekly, that's stuff comes out a little too fast, because if you've got models to paint every single week, it's gonna get. An issue is $21.99. Oh, nice. So official price of the contents for issue number 4 was 7,000. Oh wow, 700 yen. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so it is a discount. Yeah, I might take a look at a few of those. I have Dominion, but anything that would get some extra models. That's funny. Yeah, discount for. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and I wonder because they showed like in the little because you can flip through the little magazine. It's just attached to a box, and they're showing the models in colored plastic. They're the push fit though. They're the ones from Dominion, so they're push fit. But I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, it probably would have been more friendly, and you don't have to feel pressure to paint if you're very new to the hobby and you're, Space Marines and Necrons are different colors, but it was all gray plastic that I saw so far. So that's good. So that probably means it's the same quality, hopefully the same quality plastic, that they're not like switching to a Chinese factory to produce those things. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but when you see that spread of everything, like for the full subscription, so in 2 years you have like this giant table of all this terrain and vehicles and all the models and stuff. It's really crazy. Well, that's true. Yeah, once they get to vehicles, that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, if it's 2,100 yen. Yeah, some of those vehicles individually, there's no way. Some of the bikes and stuff, yeah, there's no way you can come anywhere near that. Nice. Crazy. Okay, so we're a little too golden, yeah, a little too jaundice on the coloring. So I'll play around with that. Yeah, I was trying to get the icy blue coloration of these LEDs handled, but yeah, we'll get it figured out with the lighting. And they're actually pretty close. They're much smaller than those giant lights we had before. But I almost blinded Chris. Nice. Wow. Yeah, the average Marine HQ is 40. That's right, because there's gonna be all of the HQs from that set. There's some really good ones. Yeah, there's some really cool models. If you like Primaris Space Marines in that set, and yeah, getting those for 2,000 yen. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll have to find a bookstore that can swing by regularly, because I think it's like weekly releases, so they're gonna be coming out quick. Damn. All right. Yeah, interesting. Wow, interesting. Yeah. Nice. Vehicle's got 3 lieutenants. Yeah, that number 1 is a great value, because it's 500 yen. So 500 yen for 2 HQ models. Dang, it's a lot of bits to bash. Too little to try just one. Nice. Yeah, and those you've got some nice useful bits. Although I guess push fit, though, they make it's a little bit harder to kit bash with how GW builds their push fit, because you have to kind of put them together and then saw bits off of them, because you got to get full torsos and get the piece that the head is on and everything. But we'll see. All right. Yeah, so we've got our 2 units now ready for elves and dwarves, so I think we're pretty good to savage each other with some Oathmark. So hopefully, so Chris said middle 2 weeks of February not good, so maybe the last Saturday of February. February is a short month, so just in a couple weeks we'll do our first battle and do live stream with that, and hopefully these lights will help us light it better, and we can get some cameras on the battlefield and then a nice overhead. I'll play around and make sure we have a decent setup, and we're just going to do a tiny, I think a 2x4 table, because it's so few units, and we're just going to kind of run at each other, because there is no cavalry or anything that's going to be able to move, and I'm moving extra slow. I'm dwarfing it. So yeah, we'll see the loyal elves versus the durable dwarves. We'll see how these basic units play. Nice. Yes. Yeah, so it's the Henry Rollins TTRPG compatible with 5e. That's right. Thanks, Agent Carolina. That was exactly what I was thinking every time I saw their Black Flag advertisement. Written by all the lore and the setting is based on Henry Rollins' life experience. Very good. Yeah, they should run with that. Just sell Black Flag T-shirts and everything. Nice. All right. So has the stream been okay? I'm sorry, this is not that interesting on the on the RSS, so I apologize if you're listening to only audio and we're asking about technical stuff. But yeah, I guess we are a little jaundiced, aren't we? Yeah, I was going for a golden glow, but it's just looking a little a little deficient, a little kidney damage. But yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, good to see you, Agent Carolina. Yeah, the elves have a high a loyalty, as far as I meant I think that's what it's called, a high command value, so they activate easily. The commanders and everything, what you have to roll under is very easy for elves to activate. So elves will follow your commands, things like orcs and monsters much less so. But I have ability to raise my loyalty scores, and I'm hopefully a lot tougher. So we'll see. But I have no idea how dwarven archers are going to perform. I'm going to have to buff the hell out of them, because if they get charged. So I've got soldiers and archers, and Chris is going to do archers and spearmen. So we'll see how that goes. And we both have I think we're both going to do captains, and both doing spellcasters, level 1 spellcasters. So they've only got one spell, and we'll have to see how easily that goes off. But I'm going to try to buff the hell out of my archers, make them more useful. Oh, sorry. Just digging mass elven graves. Nice. Nice. So Stargrave, Starfinder, with large numbers or more granted. Wait. Stargrave, like Frostgrave. Yeah, I think it's the same. It's almost the same number. Like your gang, your crew, I think is in Stargrave, is the same number. Kind of how you build them and everything is very similar. And you have a captain and a number one, whatever, first guy, whatever, the assistant. So it works like the wizard and apprentice. And they don't have to be. The interesting difference from Frostgrave is in Stargrave, they can have different specializations, so you can have access to other abilities and things. You're not confined to a single school of magic, kind of like you are with Frostgrave. You can have your first lieutenant, whatever, first officer, whatever. He can have access to different skills. So a little bit interesting. Yeah, and I think Matt was Stargrave. Stargrave better be a banger. I've painted this for weeks. Painted more this week than the last 5 years combined. Nice. Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed, Matt. I think the swinginess and unpredictable D20 is really fun. So you get spectacular hits or big failures, because when you fail, you have to take damage on D20 rolls and things. So yeah, I think I was really happily surprised because I played a lot of skirmish games and really liked what Frostgrave did. And I think Stargrave is a pretty good translation of that, just with lasers. Matt's getting bitter about all that painting. Yeah, we should do like a sync, like a 3, 2, 1 clap on our audio. Nice. Very good. But yeah, so I think we'll call it for this week, and we'll get those lights fixed. And these lights are small enough that we can like put them right over the table and things for filming war games. So it's nice. The other ones are prohibitively, they're these giant nylon tents basically with an array of light bulbs in them. But that might work well for an actual light box, like a static light box, so we can photograph things well and then film things better. And thank you again. So all the patrons made that possible. So Patreon went to so they had finally a great discount on the LED array lights. So Patreon made that possible. So thank you so much for the support on Patreon. You're giving us the ability to look this yellow. But these are really flexible lights. They have a color temperature dial and an intensity dial. So there's a lot of flexibility, and they're even battery. They can be battery operated, so they're actually portable. Like we can take them outside for whatever reason. But yeah, they're very very useful. So thank you so much, and we will be back again next week to do to do this again. And thanks so much for everybody in the chat. Carolina, good to see you. Miguel, Abyss, and Matt. And I'll be seeing Matt tomorrow online, and we'll figure out what our next step is. Nice. Yeah. So and yeah, I wonder how soon. I guess probably not before tomorrow, but I'm curious. Yeah, how soon Matt will be playing some Stargrave. Should be good. Oh, nice. Black Sails. Oh no, yeah, Black Sails TV. Oh, I wish. Yeah, I. Who has that now? I was just looking for that. Black Sails was on Showtime, right? So sorry, this is a complete tangent. No, Carolina just mentioned Black Sails. And I forget who has that. I haven't seen that on streaming. So it must be somebody odd in the US. Whoever has Showtime has that series, but I haven't seen that streaming. It's definitely not streaming in Japan. That sucks. Hard to find. But yeah, no, Stargrave is the sci-fi version of Frostgrave, which is a small, like 10 model count kind of skirmish game. So a miniature war game, but very small and kind of campaign based. So you're like playing these little matches, these little sessions, scenarios, and collecting treasure and then upgrading or losing members of your crew and having to like maintain. Number one. Nice. Black Flag mentioned. Oh, the Black Sails, Black Flag and Black Sails. Nice. So everyone, take care, and I will see you next week. And yeah. Until then, goodbye.